to welcome you all to this second forum. And before we start, I'd like to say a few words. We all feel that we have a great town here. And as a government, we as a board, and the past boards have done a fairly good job. Although there's been some bumps in the road in government. Sometimes people agree, sometimes people don't. But that's the government's lot, I guess. And I believe that this board is really getting at listening to everyone. Thank you. But we are a board, and we employ a lot of people. So I'd like to start this meeting off by giving a shout out to all the employees of the town of Seneca Falls. Come on, let's give them a hand. And the department heads, the water and sewer department, the water department, the clerk's office, the police department, the recreation department, and the court. And I grabbed a copy of this. This is our program to enhance our recreation department for the year 2016. And I would suggest that you all grab a copy of this. If there's not enough, we can get people copies. And starting off, they have kids territory restoring walks in Seneca Falls. Come out and enjoy the Seneca Falls community band, canal fest, fitness programs, summer play programs. Seneca Falls Central School District will be sponsoring summer feeding programs, creative expression, summer camp preschool, junior soccer camp, rising star soccer camp, youth golf at Silver Creek Golf Club, junior golf camp. And then you have adult programs, many other kids programs. Here we have many of the adult programs. And they include senior luncheons, tours. There's one coming up in August, Main Adventure. They have a New York City tour coming up in December, a senior luncheon, and just many, many things. And one or two programs are shared with Waterloo, so I believe we are sharing services there. This is great. I just want to remind everyone that all of this costs, and it costs a lot. It's not easy to manage a town with limited funds. We need the money. I'm saying that because we have a lot of employees here, and I've asked the department heads this year to look at their budgets and start cutting them. Cutting in some areas, in equipment areas, I think we can do that. But I'm not about, personally, I'm not about cutting jobs. I'm not about people losing jobs. I think that's the worst thing that can happen is to lose a job. If someone tears your heart out, that's it. I was a union member for a long time. I advocated for staff. I've seen people lay off. It tears their heart out. It's the worst thing you can do. So, when we're speaking tonight, I want everyone to keep that in mind. That this board, I would believe, is not about people losing jobs. And let's try to remember that, because that's what keeps us as a community together. So, in saying that, I know that it's 6 months into this board's term, and a lot of our time is spent on issues surrounding Senate males and where we are in the future. I know there's going to be people who will speak about that tonight, and I welcome their thoughts and comments, and this board does also. But we have other programs and departments here that are doing a great job, and I'd like to hear also. So, although at the last forum, I said I'd like to set up this in a segmented way, like half an hour for this, half an hour for that, it's still your forum. So I'm going to leave it up to you. But remember, this is town, and we have to think positively about all the employees we have here who do great jobs in the city. So in saying that, let's start. Okay, who wants to do first to talk? And I'll hand it off the microphone. That was an easy one. Okay. Just a hand.
I'm amazed with the yellow. I wore my yellow shirt tonight. I'm thinking My name is Lee Henry. I live in Waterloo, New York. And I do announcements concerning citizens having a barbecue next Saturday. Lafayette Park. This Saturday, right? 25th. So come one, come all. We've also got a raffle going on, $1,000 first prize. You can vote. You can get 5 tickets at the barbecue. We've got a crisis confronting us, and action is needed now. The Department of Environmental Conservation stands at our door, waiting to hold hearings on Seneca Falls application for a 10-year extension of the permit to landfill. While no expansion of the landfill is planned, it is obvious that such an application will shortly follow if this extension is approved. That extension hearing was originally planned for June 24, but it's being delayed, waiting to see what action the town of Seneca Falls will take. The DEC will not act in contravention of the town's actions. Town board has the future of this community in its hands and needs to take action and pass local law number 7. Yes, there are many questions still unanswered and more problems yet unforeseen, but with good common sense and for the health, safety, and quality of life of its citizens, passing law number 7 is the right thing to do. Allow Seneca Falls to continue for another 10 years certainly needs an expansion, higher, larger, more tons per day, and a continuance of the problems that have brought this area to near revolt. It will surely mean the arrival of the trash train, and with several changes in the town board over this 10 years, possibly new laws, more land for landfilling, continuing notice that have made some uproot and leave this community, and others planning to do so, and an untold loss of the new and expanding businesses just because of the landfill's presence, and a continuing threat to our new and growing and future industry, the wine industry. Seneca Meadows is aggressive and works behind the public eye, but this board now holds the future, and the time to act is now. If this board does not act swiftly, the DEC will. And I shudder to contemplate what this land will look like in another 10 years of landfill. At 3 town board meetings, the facts have been debated and repeated. Do not let the threats of Seneca Meadows deter you. Seize this moment. Seize this one-time opportunity that's before you. Schedule a public hearing. Schedule work on a secret declaration. And schedule a vote on town law number 7. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? When you come up to the mic, give me mic, just state your name, please, and time you live.
My name is Karen Rothfuss, and I live in the village of Waterloo, town of Fayette. And just for anybody else who speaks after me, some people in here are hard of hearing, and if you speak too close to the mic, I've heard that it just makes things a little bit fuzzy, so when people speak, maybe they can keep that in mind.
Are you telling me I was fuzzy? Yeah.
You speak about jobs, and I agree that jobs are very important, and I know that one of the huge concerns of the landfill people that are here tonight, and they're supportive yellow, is their jobs. And I can understand, and I can relate, and I can sense why they might be afraid if the landfill closes. It's been mentioned before, but when a landfill does close, there are jobs that carry on for quite some time, because there is a lot to be done to close a landfill, and a lot to be done just to maintain and keep track of the gas and all these other things. I have a friend in Portland who worked at a closed landfill, and it was like a lab environment where, they monitor, they kept track of things, they had to walk the landfill, and so that is going to be, is going to create, not create jobs, but the jobs will continue in that capacity. Some other good news is that the Stella, who's bought land down in Romulus, is going to have a manufacturing plant down there, and he's going to have 200 jobs. And I suspect they're going to be good paying jobs. So I see that as an opportunity. And I've changed jobs over the years, and it's not always fun to change jobs, but sometimes it's a challenge that becomes a good and new direction. So I just wanted to mention that. The other thing I want to say is I'm participating in a farmer's market this year. It's the only farmer's market in Seneca County, and I just want to say it's a very positive experience it has been for me. Super nice vendors. Greg, who manages it, is a super guy, super helpful, and encourages people to bring fresh new ideas to the market, and it's growing. So it's a really fun place to go to on Wednesdays from 9 to 1:30. So that's the end of my comments.
Thank you. And next, Mr. Jones.
My name is Larry Jones. I've spoken in prior meetings. What I'd like to do is not just talk to the audience, but talk to the full board. Greg mentioned about jobs. Jobs is important to everybody. The good news, and I'm going to share it with you, and I shared it with Josh Herschel on this company show, is in many cases, the employees in Seneca Meadows, their job security is better than people, pools, pumps, finger rings, many jobs. And it's all because of DEC 360 regulations. It's proposed now that the landfill closes, if not all, jobs are retained for a minimum of 30 years. So what I want to talk tonight to the board about is two things. One, a lot has happened in the last 30, 60, 90 days. And some people would look at this list and say, well, geez, some may read it as a lie. I don't ever want to use the word lie, but I'll use the word stretching the truth. And this is what I want to share with the board. Back in February, stretching the truth had to do with the Finger Lakes Rail in Seneca Meadows, joint effort, putting a rail siding that wasn't anything to do with New York trash per se. It was initially about grain, vegetables, fruits going in and out. A work stoppage was put in on the rail siding, 1.2 million. I think it's safe to say it's stretching the truth because the same 3 cars that were back there in March when the public officials went to this grand opening for Finger Lakes Rail, they're still there. So, stretching the truth, number one. The mailings. I don't want to say propaganda, but these leaflets we get in the mail, one day, my wife comes in, she's scared to death because it's a taxpayer alert in red. The town's going to lose its landfill money. Just for that information, if it ever goes to litigation or whatever, nobody loses money, it just goes to escrow. So for somebody to say taxpayer alert, and then I want to say, I don't want to stretch my truth, but I think it was the same week. The second pamphlet comes out and said, we've listened to the taxpayers, the New York trash train is not coming. One day, taxpayer alert, next day, the train's not coming. Stretching the truth, I think it's safe to say, and I'll throw the challenge out to Jeff and Kyle, is I don't think Sacramento's nor your parent company made the decision not to accept the New York trash. I think that came elsewhere. Stretching the truth. Carjack purchase. Just told Jeff, by the way, I think Jeff's a great guy that came and introduced himself. We're gonna chat, we may agree, disagree, but congratulations, Larry and Cindy Solar, $4 million for a building, assessed for $600,000. If that's not stretching the truth, that there's not something in store for the east side of 414, I gotta bridge this thing. That's really stretching the truth. And these are things you as the board need to know, that yes, there's opinions on both sides, and some of these things are so obvious. $4 million for a building. My thinking, possibly the trash train is still on the agenda, maybe not this year, maybe not New York City. Or could it be mountain number 3, 4, and 5, or 6, 7, and 8 on the east side? Who would pay $4 million for a building block? The intimidation, shame on your parent company for thinking you're going to lose your job. That's going back to this EBC regulation. Your job is probably more secure than any jobs. I'll just leave it at that. We can issue the information. You can go on and Google it. DEC 360 regulations. Seneca Energy number 2. I go to an IPA meeting. Everybody's there. We've got to have funding. We've got to have it sooner than later. We've got to take care of the methane gas. It's currently a problem. The IPA, as this board, giving them a lot of thought, they said we're going to table it. Not one day, not 2 days. I think it was 3 days later, Seneca Energy said, we don't need the money, we're moving forward. Stretching the truth, one day we need the money, 2 days later they're saying, IPA, we don't need the money. So when I say stretching the truth, you can agree or disagree, it's just that I think the board needs to hear this as well as some of the people in the public. I'll offer this to Kyle or Mark, $4 million in donations. One, I'm going to be the first one to say thank you for what Seneca Falls has done for the community. But to put that in print, $4 million in donation, you do the math, that's $333,000 a month. What's the saying? Show me the money. Just show me the list. Show me the $4 million on an annual basis that's given out to organizations. Once again, stretching the truth. I'm going to leave it at that. I wanted to share with the board, but I probably should share it with the taxpayers as well as the employees of Seneca Falls. I have nothing against the employees of Seneca Falls. Another fight I'm taking on behalf of our community. And I say our community, it's your community, it's my community. I grew up here, I'm going to die here. It's the Indian situation, Cuban Nation. I have nothing against the private owners. All I want the Cuban Nation to do is pay the property taxes. All I want this board to do is come up with a formula to see how we live without a landfill. But at the same time, I don't want any of you losing your jobs. You have an opportunity. And with that, I'm waiting to share the revenue that can offset the 2.8 million, which by the way is another stretch, because if you look at past budgets, the town never gets 2.8 million. I think what Seneca Falls needs to do. Okay, Kyle, you're shaking your head. 2.8 million every year?
Not every year, Brad, it varies. If you look at the history and did your homework, there's years we gave the town over 3 million direct.
3 million direct.
Over 3 million.
Okay. Can you make that public? Show that public?
The board has.
It is.
All right. And I must be talking to the wrong board.
No, you're just stretching the truth.
Yep, stretching the truth.
I'm not here to get the argument, I asked for $4 million in donations, if you can give me some information, the other challenges.
So when are you
just
gonna
give
run
me
for
information.
office?
Pardon?
So when are you gonna run for office?
Not here to debate, let's
Okay, thank you very much.
We can get the facts now.
Thank you, Brad. And again, I offered many times to come and go over all these things. You refused. So you've been offered many times to come, sit down with us, and go over all these facts that you're talking about are stretches. They're not stretches, they're facts. We only deal with facts, period. Jobs number one, his reference to the DEC Part 360 regulations is only a reference to how we have to monitor and maintain the landfill. It's no guarantee of jobs. When this landfill closes and ceases operation, about 10% of the jobs will remain. The other 90 will be gone. So of our 100 plus employees, there may be 10 left. So that's 90 jobs that will be lost. They will be lost. You're shaking your head yes now, but they will be lost. The rail side, the trains, we walked away from that contract. The company pulled the proposal from the city. That's a fact. That's a fact. That was pulled. Nothing left behind it. It's pulled. And that was the commitment we made to the community, that we're not going to bring waste by rail. I'm not going to speak about the carjack versus the private business. I don't know where you got your number from, but your number from. We didn't pay $4 million for carjack.
3.6, $400,000 for the warehouses.
That's not what you paid for carjack. So, you know, that's a private business deal between two private businesses that frankly shouldn't be out in the public forum. Doesn't need to be in the public forum. There's no stretch. The reason for that is access to our the New York State DOT required an intersection to be lined up across from ours, a much safer multi-lane intersection, controlled with lights. But that's why we purchased that property. We didn't want to spend that money. We didn't want to spend $3 million for an intersection there, but we had to because the DEC or the DOT required that we line our intersections up and would not give us 2 major intersections. That's the fact. Seneca Energy is a business within itself. They make business decisions. The help they were asking the IDA, they received many times and over the years. They take the gas and make renewable energy. That's the bottom line. They don't make renewable energy, we flare that gas. I'd rather have renewable energy. I'd rather have renewable electricity in this community. I'd rather have renewable gas in the pipe than have one with a flare. Quite simply, that's the environmentally responsible way to do things. Again, the stretches of the truth, the information on the mailers, those are all facts. That $4 million is not donations to that. That's the contribution to the two communities. So there is a long laundry list that Mark has of many wonderful charitable entities that we donate to a part of, because that's the right thing to do, to be a part of the community. I'm not going to apologize for that in any way, shape, or form, because that's the right thing to do, is to support the community, and that's what we do. So those are the facts.
state name where you live, please.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Marshall. I live in Seneca Falls. I guess the fact that I have is of, within the last few days of once again waking up in my home to the smell of a dump. And that's my fact, that I'm breathing in air that is not good for me. Another fact, I'm considering putting my home up for sale, and I'm waiting your guys' decision on whether I need to do that or not. I can't stand the smell. I can't stand the health concerns. I feel like there are so many people that have been coming and writing and talking that have expressed this. I don't want to keep repeating it, but just to Kyle's report about the facts and caring about the community, it would seem to me, again, and I've said this in another meeting, that the responsibility of Seneca Meadows is to take care of their business, which is taking care of the dump, not allowing toxic fumes to get into my lungs and those of our community. It's not okay. That's a fact. No matter how much money you pay to other community programs, the fact is that people are inhaling horrible, horrible things into their lungs. The other morning when I woke up, I had to jump up, close all the windows in the house, called, and was told that they would get to me when they could. When they first called me back, they called me 2 different names before they called me by my correct name. And my response was, you must be getting a lot of calls about the smell this morning. And the response was, I have some adjustments I need to do, and I'll get there when I can. And my response fact was that by the time you get here, because these are plumes that move across town, it won't be here. And the person who took the call laughed at me. Fact. It's not okay. Bottom line, it is not okay. I don't care about money that you're giving to anybody else. Your job is to manage a landfill. And even if you're not expanding the landfill, if you're trying to fill a hole that wasn't filled in time, that's more landfill, that's more smells. We're not benefiting from anything other than inhaling toxic fumes and having to deal with the long-term results of that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Stoller. Fact, everyone in here is very healthy, and not one of us ever got sick by the smell of the landfill. A couple of board meetings ago, the board wanted to get a meeting together saying that we need to give more business to our communities, right? Is that what you guys said? Yes. But you guys want to close one of the most important ones. Half of us in this room do not understand that. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Hi, I'm Black. I live in Waterloo. I've been here my whole life. Do I need this? Can I speak without it?
Can you guys hear me?
Okay, so I was probably 5 years old when I first went to the landfill. A couple months ago, propaganda was up on my car at Parker's that said there are 2 schools close to the landfill, but kids are hurting in this. I went to that school my whole life. I've been to the landfill since I was 5. I worked there last 4 years. Didn't stop my growth. I'm a perfectly healthy person. And final fact, the people in the elevator do more for the environment than people that aren't wearing it.
You can't hear what he said, not a word. Couldn't understand.
Great.
It's too much bass in there.
Hello, everyone hear me? Okay. You want to repeat what you said? Why don't you come up front? Nothing like putting on the slide.
Okay, so come on, look here my whole life. I first got into the landfill when I was 5 years old when my father was positioned there. No. So 2 months ago at Parker's, I came off of my car and there was some propaganda saying that there were 2 schools and then a very close radius of landfill, and the landfill was like a top. I've been around this for 5 years. I'm a very healthy person that hasn't affected me one bit. It's not affecting anybody else. That's the most important thing that
everybody should be worried about their health. I don't disagree with that, but look at me, look at us, everybody's healthy, and that's the bottom line.
Thank you.
My name is John Patty. I live in Waterloo. This whole thing is a lot.
Talking too much.
I will talk to you, Mike. Thank you very much. There's much that has been said and probably should be said about the Seneca Falls landfill. The biggest thing is jobs. I firmly believe that the landfill will be there for many years. However, the job numbers can be increased if you do it right. And I've said this before. Closing an landfill is not the answer. Modify what's done. Go to recycling and composting exclusively. Recycle what comes in and compost everything that is biodegradable. And then sell that compost for a profit, and you can add jobs. You can add a product. And everybody would be happy, because one of the things that needs to be done is to take those piles and aerate them. Introduce oxygen into those piles. Change the chemical reaction from anaerobic to aerobic. Give it oxygen, and the smell will go away. And that is not very expensive. And you can add jobs doing that also. I've said it before, and I will say it again. Aerate and oxygenate the piles. The smell will go away. Add jobs by composting and recycling. And everybody will be happy. Maybe not all, but a lot of this can be solved by using your head and not fighting the system as it is. Modify what's being done, and I guarantee that a lot of this will be solved. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Yep.
My name is Sharon. I worked for a landfill for 17 years. I raised a family of 6. My son is 6'2", 180, plays football for Waterloo. Doesn't have any health problems. There's never been a health problem in anything from a landfill as far as ground contaminants, water, air pollution. So I'm going to call that not a stretch of the truth. That is the truth. And anybody that says otherwise, that's a lie. This would be a totally different meeting for me. Now, as far as concerned citizens go, they did a test years ago to study the air quality around there, and it revealed straight out truck vehicle traffic. Normal everyday traffic, and everybody here contributes to that in their car. We tried to eliminate that by putting a train in, stop some of the trucks from coming in, lower the footprint they would produce. You guys didn't want it, and now you're still complaining. So the landfill's doing everything they can to take care of every ounce of business that you people have a problem with. But you're fighting for no reason whatsoever. Thank you.
Yes.
I just like to say that when I smell the landfill, I get physically ill. I mean, that is my body telling me that I am breathing in something that it doesn't like, and it's reacting in a way because whatever it is, and nobody can really tell me what's 100% in it probably, whatever it is, it's not good for me. It's not good for me as a living creature. The other thing is landfills have PR people, public relations people, that manage the public, the way the public sees the landfill. and it's a necessary position because you have to manage the community in which you can keep on running. And part of that job, and I mean no disrespect in saying it to Mr. Benjamin, but part of that job is to give out money to the community and to curry favor. So there are a lot of companies in this world, and most of them don't have PR people unless they feel that there's a possibility for them being seen in a negative light, and it is the job of that department or person to manage that. And that's all I can say about that.
Thank you. Kyle, I'm going to take this young lady behind you.
Hi, my name is Pam Lewis. I live in Seneca Falls, but I also work for Seneca Meadows. So first I'd like to address the fact that previously, in previous meetings, we have talked about how the concerned citizens and people opposed to the landfill, sometimes on social media bully the landfill employees and such. I personally was just a witness to that after Trevor spoke. This young lady here had a comment, a personal attack on Trevor. So again, you know,
I couldn't hear him, that's what I was saying.
that's not.
He mumbled,
That's not what
he mumbled the whole thing.
You know, but that's fine. You know, that's how they are. They make lies out of accusations that things that aren't true. Also, from working at Seneca Meadows, I firsthand am familiar with numerous phone calls of people calling to find out if they can bring in their garbage for free. You know, they want to take advantage of that free disposal from Seneca Falls, Waterloo, and I'm sure it's many people who are opposed to the landfill, but they want to bring in their free garbage. They don't want to pay, you know, $1 a bag or $3 a bag. They want to bring it in for free. So, you know, you don't want us there, but yet you want to use the services at no charge.
I've got a letter here from the New York State Department of Conservation, and I'm just going to read the opening 2 paragraphs. This was a June 3rd, 2013 letter addressed to Catherine Benjamin and the members of Family Zero Waste Coalition and concerned citizens in Seneca County. Dear Catherine and community members, thank you for participating in the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation's Community Air Screening Program and testing for possible air toxins in your area. This is an exciting opportunity for us to work with you. This is the DEC working with the concerned citizens in Finger Lakes Zero Waste. It's an exciting opportunity for us to work closely with communities such as yours to find out more about local air quality concerns across the state. We reviewed the results for the 3 air samples obtained in the town of Seneca and the village of Waterloo. All the results are well below the short-term health-based air concentration values and therefore are not considered an immediate public health concern. Additionally, the sampling results are below or within the order of magnitude of the long-term health-based air concentration values and similar to air concentrations found at stationary monitors in the DEC's Omnion Air Monitoring System. Based on these comparisons, the DEC staff concluded that follow-up sampling will not be considered at this time. Fact. Air samples taken by the concerned citizens, nothing's wrong. Fact.
This gentleman,
I just have a short poll I'd like to take. Everyone affiliated with Seneca Meadows, do nothing. Everyone else in the audience, if you are a town of Seneca Falls resident and taxpayer, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Okay, thank you.
It's the town matter, and I just wonder how many people in this town opposed to everyone else that showed up here with a care. It's a little bit.
thank you.
is Randy Bluto from Waterloo, New York. I was born in Waterloo, Taylor Brown Memorial Hospital. I don't know how many people know this, what Taylor Brown Memorial Hospital is. Years ago. Lived here most of my life. My parents, they had to find another job elsewhere, so we had to move to Cayuga because they had to find jobs and all that. Okay? Now, through that time, when I lived in Cayuga, had to go to Union Springs. Did not like it at all. There was no football program. The soccer stunk, to be honest with you. This is common real life facts. Okay? If I was still in Waterloo, I would have been playing football, I would have been playing baseball all the time. No, Union Springs was a little bit different out there. Mr. Patty, you know that, right? See? So, what I'm trying to get to is, after that, I would literally leave the school, drive all the way from Union Springs back to Waterloo to where my friends were. On the weekends, I would have to come back to Waterloo because that is where my friends were. That was my community. It still is my community. A couple years ago, I would say probably 10, I moved to Seneca Falls. Had a house, had a wife, had kids, had it made. I had the golden dollar in my hand. But I was traveling 51 miles just to make ends meet. And I ended up losing my house. Ended up losing my house in Seneca Falls, which I was a taxpayer at. Okay? That's a fact. After that, I moved to Maine. 5 years later, I come back. Everybody says to me, oh, you're going to find a job, you're going to find a job. Well, guess what? I applied at Google's. I applied at Tarjax. I applied everywhere. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go work at the landfill. Everybody looked at me and said, you're crazy. And I said, well, guess what? I'm going to work at the landfill. So I went to work at the landfill. I'm telling you right now, the very best crew, they do everything that you possibly could imagine. Okay? And I will not ever give up working for the landfill for the remainder of my 100 years.
I just wanted to say that my opening statements have got to mention the highway department. And I'm very sorry I forgot to mention it. Driving around Seneca Falls during the summertime, you see a lot of work every minute, almost every day. And so I'm sorry I forgot about it. So let's give a shout out to the highway. Anyone else?
I'm going to guess the board to answer this. I don't understand the parameters of local law 7. I don't understand where you sit with it. It's something that's going to be considered. If it's for a length of time, it's just language to me.
We have 4 board members here tonight, and I'm sure you've heard the answers on that. To me, local law is something someone brought up at a meeting and proposed local law. I believe that if you're going to propose local law, it should take time to write up, time and energy, write up. Parties that are going to be affected by it should be negotiated, and that's why I felt the better route to take was to take something that we had in place, a host agreement, and sit down and modify that host agreement to meet the needs of what we're hearing from the people in Seneca Falls. That can be controversial too, because a lot of people disagree with myself personally on that, but that's the way I want to go. The board then voted to postpone the public hearing on local law that was presented. I sometimes hesitate to even call it a local law because it's a resolution. It's, you know, once passed as local law, it has a high order, but right now, it's a resolution, something that was presented to us, and we as a board have to decide in what direction we're going in. I think the direction we're going in now is a good, sound direction, because in any discussion and outcome of a host agreement, I believe that this board is listening to the community as a whole, and they must be in that modified host agreement. I know there's a lot of disagreement on that. That's the point we're at now. David, you want to answer?
Overall, number 7, have a conversation about it. You will vote email me yesterday for it. I made some copies of that. Nothing to do with my car, drop the truck. We got it on me now. The waste disposal, I mean, it's got a purpose to it, the local law. We got definitions that we're going through. Containment, on pool that they call out there, and talk about DEC, disposal, and storage things hanging on out there, facilities itself, solid waste, household waste, hazardous waste, industrial waste, landfill and sanitary landfill stuff, manure, recycling, sewage, compost. I mean, we have a whole glamour of what's on the social on number 7. And it's allowed me to do what we had to go before we could make a decision on that. Like you said, we didn't talk about a host agreement. I mean, we're not just sitting back, we're listening to people, we have our notes. Mary takes her notes, when the demonstration, she had her notes. We talk, and we have not made a decision yet. The last letter that I see from Scott, the lawyer, they want to be sold by September. One letter they got emailed. So, I mean, we're not done. We're trying to, weigh the difference of everybody who's working there, who's not working there, who wants to regular quality, who wants to close, who wants it open. We're not just sitting back and saying, well, we're not going to do anything. We are. I hear Brad about the $4 million for the new building. Today I got a real deep in on that. It was $3.6 million for that building. With actually, there's no cost. It could be $4 million, it could be $4.5. But right now we're under that 3.6. We're going to be recognizing the meeting tomorrow with the engineers and stuff, going over the budget, what we spend. Right now, we're talking clerk of the works today, who works very hard out there trying to save this money. He said we're under. Made a comment with Brad was on the county up there, we went 3.8 million over the budget. We're not going to do that. I mean, we're trying to stay in that budget, but we actually do not. We went through all the minutes, looking at the minutes, it just calls for 3.6, and if we sell property, which we're in the process of selling silver property, that can be put towards that building.
Okay, so I like it that we're here. This is one of the reasons why, it's because of local law 7, right, or 2. We wouldn't have the debate that we're having now if it wasn't segregated. We can get this out there so we can actually have a good debate. And debates were started long ago. I think it was the Romans. But it was so that we could come to a compromise, so that we could understand both sides of an argument. And we have to do that, because if we just keep arguing left and right, then nothing will be ever done. With that being said, this law was based on Carroll. It was a county that used a law very similar to enact this. And I think one of the problems that we had was when we proposed the resolution of the solid waste or local law 7, or really 2, what that got was a talking point. And I think we needed to actually talk. We needed to hear both sides. And I think what you have to understand is that we really do want to work with both sides. We have to make sure that this is strong for all of us, for the community. Not just one side, not just the other side, but down the middle. And I know that no one's going to be happy when you're down the middle, but you can't just pick one part of the community over another part of the community. A community is a community because we have to work together to make a community strong. To make us strong, it means we need to work together. And that's part of it. And so when we looked at this law, I think there's some really great points in it. I think there's things that need to be done, that need to be on the books, but that it needs to be changed a little bit to make it better for actual Seneca Falls, to be a strong law for Seneca Falls. And in order to do that, it does take time. I believe a reporter wrote something about, it took a really long time to maybe build a Coliseum or something like that. And it does, it takes time, It wasn't, towns weren't built overnight, and a law can't be built overnight. And as much as you want to have a decision right now, it's just honestly not the best possibility. You want to make sure that all our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. And I hope that you kind of give us some time to really make sure that we're doing what's best for all of us. I did it. I said this before. I have a 4-year-old child. I want to make Seneca Falls a great place for him to be in the future. And so that's my #1 goal, is to make sure that we are strong in 30 years, in 20 years. And when it comes to landfills, they aren't meant to be here forever. I feel like the landfill would probably also agree with that, right? I know Kyle, Jeff, and I have talked about this. And so I honestly think that John made a really great point, is that we really have to start trying to come up with a compromise together. What's going to be positive? What kind of positive things can we look for the future of this town? And sometimes finding a positive resolution to things means that we need to work together and come to the blue line there. So that's kind of where I stand. And I'm always asking questions. I love to actually talk to people.
Very good point. We need to modify and compromise. I have to leave, I'm sorry.
Pretty much a lot of the things that Barry said, I agree with. Being in office is really a tremendous responsibility sometimes. I don't know if I realized how tremendous that was until I took over. When I was running for office, this issue was there a little bit, but it really came to the forefront as I came into office. Initially, I was hearing from people that they wanted to make sure the host agreement we had would be enforced and no more trash would be taken in 2023. One of the board meetings, Doug Mellis gave his presentation, and I'll be honest, I didn't realize as a town council person how much paperwork you have to review. In addition to that, I was trying to familiarize myself with other operations within the town to get a bit of understanding. And when this resolution came up, I'll be the first one to tell you, when I looked it over, my understanding was that I thought we were passing a law to not establish any new landfills another company came and wanted to buy property, we would not have another landfill. There's different interpretations. I found out by some of the legal people. Some people say we passed the law, just the law, kind of basically to deter and not have other landfills. Other legal opinions is that we passed this to the landfill cease operation in 2017. That's a very short time. What happened is, as Greg pointed out, we have an obligation to everybody here in the community. The village of Seneca Falls is all into the town. The town made the obligation to deliver services. You need to have water to your homes. You need to have sewer. You need to have your roads plowed in the wintertime. You need police protection. And to be able to make a quick decision, as Mary said, and still be able to have all those services in place, it's very difficult. We have to try to find and do what's best for everyone. I certainly understand people's concerns about that. I've given this much thought. It's almost on my mind an awful lot of it. I'm just trying to do the best I can. Hopefully we can work together and somehow figure out a solution or whatever that everybody can live with. Probably not everybody's going to be happy with it, but that's the best that I can do. I'm just speaking personally for myself.
And then it's not good tonight. She recently had surgery. She's recuperating. That's why she's not here.
I'm Robert Elton Jr. I live in Waterloo, New York. I am kind of hoping that this meeting will be the turning point in this debate. Up until now, I'll put it the best way I can. I told landfill management their PR sucks. They should have come out full bore and straightened out all this information right from the beginning 7 years ago when the concerned citizens started their propaganda. That landfill is in compliance. It's not a health threat to anybody. And the PPC will confirm it, the EPA will confirm that. The health department, every state agency you possibly think of, says that landfill is perfectly safe. And I had Mr. Churchill on my cell phone saying that Central Meadows is in the Central Lake watershed. This is at a debate or a landfill summit at Hobart. I sat there for an hour and 35 minutes and listened to people talk about composting, recycling, reusing. Composting stinks. It's the same process that goes on in the landfill, except that it's exposed and not buried. I've been planting numerous communities who have tried and failed. Most of the compost ends up in a landfill. And the residents say, well, right now we have 2 stinking piles of garbage. Recycling doesn't work, it's been mandatory for years. Geneva, Ontario County, they recycle the way out of the mess. They have a world-class recycling facility up there in Ontario County, and it doesn't work. Cortland County, New York, they spent $40,000 collecting 1 ton of recyclable materials and they sold it for $32. It is a money pit. This community cannot afford to go by itself. That's why I suggested that you look into the state solid waste management plan. They want units, composed populations of 1 million people. That's the only way you can afford to implement their plan. And their plan consists of composting, recycling, and reusing. But they know that if they make it law and force the communities into doing it now, that the communities will go bankrupt. That's why they're putting responsibility on these communities, the 4 million population planning units, I think is the term they use. Get the communities all together and come up with their own little plan as to how they can afford to do this and comply with regulations. And they extended it from 10 years to 20 years, knowing full well that it would be such an economic burden on the communities that they wouldn't be able to stand it. You have to face facts, you have to listen to both sides. So far, up until this meeting, it's all been one side. Totally slanted against the landfill. I have video proof, I have newspaper proof, I got all kinds of proof about twisting the facts and using scare tactics and homework against the landfill. I've tried to get it done in the court, I had certain people arrested, criminal charges against certain people. I think Mr. Churchill and Mr. Cameron should be charged with official misconduct, removed from office, and thoroughly investigated. If both are using the landfill as a political tool, that is all propaganda, scare tactics, and pure politics. Vote for me, I will fight the landfill. Just look at Waterloo with a play on it. Vote for me.
I just want to reiterate, there are 2 points of views, and both sides are very emotional, and there are 2 sets of facts sometimes, and this board wants to hear them all. So, thank you.
Well, I'm Ann Hudson, I'm the County Farm Bureau President. I live in Tyler, and we have 2 businesses in the town of Seneca Falls. I am here to talk about agriculture in the community. As you know, agriculture is one of the largest industries in the county.
Can't hear you.
Agriculture is one of the largest industries in the county. It is very important to the town of Seneca Falls. It brings 70,000 visitors just to our farm days every year. We have numerous farms, numerous businesses that support farming if you look through the town. With that being said, we were very surprised when we read the proposed local law number 7, because unfortunately it has a lot of provisions that are very bad for agriculture. The state ag department was asked to make a review of this law. They came back with their statement last week, and they agreed that local law 7 as written is not good for agriculture. So the Seneca County Farm Bureau is asking the town board to rescind the motion to the proposed current version of local law 7. Because unfortunately, as is, it would be very extremely bad for agriculture.
Like how? Like how would it be bad?
Well, and it actually doesn't allow compost. All these things that company can't do. It has regulations against manure spraying, and regulations to not allow sustainable agriculture.
Actually, the restaurants dumpster would be a violation.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of things that would be in violation because of the different things that are in there. The state ag department said that it's a direct violation of ag law, and that if the law was actually implemented, that the town would be breaking New York State Department of Agriculture law. So the town really needs to reconsider the current proposed local law 7.
I have a copy of that letter here tonight. If you want to review it, you can. If you want a copy of it yourself, I'll make one for you, and you won't have to FOIA that either. Next.
Hi, I'm Renee Hosnick. I've been at the landfill for, I live in Waterloo. I've been at the landfill for 22 years. My kids have grown up with the landfill, like Trevor. The landfill is a great place to work. All my kids are grown now. When they were homesick, they actually weren't home, they were at work with me. They came to work, I had a cat in my office. That's where my kids were on sick days. I was a single parent. My kids got better at the landfill. They would stay there until they were well enough to go back to school. When there was holidays, vacations, off for the summer, my kids came to work with me. And let me know that I work with take them up on the hill, or take them around and show them the place, or they would be outside. So 22 years and 3 kids, they were there a lot, and we're all healthy. So I understand your concerns about the landfill and about the odors, and they're justified, but we have facts, and we have people that have lived there, we have living facts. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mark James. I live on Center Street here in Seneca Falls. My family has been here for the last 22 years. We've enjoyed our stay in this community and call it home now. Ian spoke about the agricultural issues. Certainly, I work for a farmer as well as being a resident, and I'm so not going to touch on those. I think, though, as a community, we need to think very carefully about what we do here in the future, rightly or wrongly, as we move forward. Seneca Falls and the greater Seneca County community have the reputation of being the community of no. No to business. And some people may be shaking their heads, but you need to talk to some of the bankers, some of the business people in the community to understand that there are people that have looked at this community to open businesses, but they hear people saying no to every business that knocks on our door asking us to welcome them with open arms. We had one banker that I spoke with here a few years ago talked about a brownfield location here in the town of Seneca Falls that he was trying to interest a prospective businessman with investing in. And his response was, "You folks in Seneca Falls are just plain mean." So I'm not here to speak in favor of the landfill or in opposition. I will say as a resident of Seneca Falls that the odor is an issue. Mark, you and I have spoken about that in the past. It needs to be brought under control. I think a lot of our issues will go away once, and hopefully if they can bring that odor under control within the community. But we need to stop listening to rumor. And I know in this community, rumor spreads like wildfire. It's kind of funny sometimes when you know who started the rumor, because they just wanted to start a rumor, just to see how far it would go. But sometimes it can be really serious. And so I think we need to look at facts when you're making your decisions. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Just because it happens somewhere else doesn't mean it's going to happen here. And so you need to deal with facts, you need to deal with the law, and the constraints that you are, or the areas that you are constrained by in terms of elected officials in dealing with the law. So, please, let calmer heads prevail. Let's have a conversation rather than pointing fingers, and hopefully we can get to some resolution on this issue. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name is Matt Blair. Can you hear me? Closer, can you hear me? A little more away. That's it? I'm a newer member of this community, and I'm a little concerned because of the polarization. I hear people, good people, I believe, referring to each other as liars. I believe passion is a good thing to be committed to what you believe in, and anything worth believing in is worth fighting for. But I hate to see us become so polarized that we are just unable to come together on any common ground whatsoever. I personally happen to be a pro-business fiscal conservative, so I am concerned about things like, well, gee, how are we going to pay for this if we do lose the income from the meadows? It doesn't mean that we can't do it. It means that we have to plan for it. What do we have in place? I haven't heard of anything that's really viable yet. I've heard of a suggestion or two. On the other hand, the meadows has been here for decades. It didn't suddenly become an evil giant. And so what are we doing to actually reach out to the meadows, which is a corporate member of our community? Any way you look at it, they are staffed by human beings who have the same kind of needs and concerns that the rest of us have. Are there problems? Yes. After we moved here, we did have that situation, that experience of having a plume come over our property. We did have the eye irritation, the lung irritation, the odors and so on. We couldn't even go downstairs in our home. Does there mean there's no solution to it? Not necessarily. Are we reaching out to try to find a solution? I hope so. I don't have the answers to all of these questions yet. I don't think anyone does. But we're never going to get there from here if we don't come together and sit down and put our heads together and figure out a way to make this happen. I personally don't think it's realistic to think that we can pass a local law and close the landfill in 2017. I have a real problem with that because there are things that we have to take into consideration like integrity. We have a contract in place, a host agreement that says we go to 2025. And we made a commitment. We joined together with a corporate member and we said that you will have this host agreement in effect until 2025. So for us to now go back and say, no, we're going to shut you down in 2017 is to me dishonest and lacks integrity, and it's just wrong. Does that mean that we should go on with business as usual? No. We should continue to try to mitigate the problems that we face together. We should try to implement those things that we can do, and we should come together and figure out what we can do together. Now, is it possible that we should end the relationship with Seneca Falls in 2025? Possibly. Is there also room for negotiating to be consistent with at least the DEC permit that goes to 2027? Possibly. But there has to be something in it for us to be willing to do something like that. Is it something that's worth considering? I don't know. It sure as heck is worth talking about. And as long as we're standing on either side of this thing, calling each other liars and pointing fingers back and forth, talking about you ought to go to jail and saying all other kinds of nasty things. And then the idea that because you have a PR department, that's some sort of evil thing because you want to give to deserving charities. You know, I've been in the private sector for decades, and then I went into the public sector. Every single company that I ever worked for had a PR department, and they wanted to protect their brand and their image and put the best foot forward. They did so by giving to deserving charities, by being active in the community, by being involved and trying to be good citizens. So the idea that if you do that, you're some sort of evil, disgusting, untrustworthy being is ridiculous. And it should not be allowed to continue. I don't care who you are and what you think your cause is. I mean, the truth is the truth. So we need to kind of get away from this business of, well, if you're a business and you're giving to your community, something must be wrong with you. That kind of paranoia never will provide an opportunity for us to come together and to talk about possible solutions that we can come together. And if we're not communicating, we're just yelling at each other, we're not going to accomplish anything. They said harder feelings, and that's expressed in a number of undesirable ways. I don't even want to go into that. But, you know, I think it's really important for us to realize that everybody here is a human being, deserves respect, and should have an opportunity to express one's opinion, whether you believe or like what you're hearing or not. That much should be a liberty. Now, I personally don't care for the local law that was proposed originally, because the individual who proposed the local law, I was there when it happened, was involved in litigation that, to me, would put the town in a problematic situation because there was an apparent conflict of interest. Now, I don't want to go into court and have millions of dollars spent in litigation when our poor town only has a liability policy that goes to $1 million. Anything over that, each one of these board members that are here serving you and your needs, all of our needs, could become personally liable. Now, I don't want to see them go down the tubes financially simply because we couldn't figure out a way to sit down and talk to each other like respectful adults. So, you know, I don't know where we go from here, but, you know, we really have to find a different tack because this isn't working. And we're not making any progress. And we are all members of the same community. I do have something to say, though, in terms of strategic planning. I have not heard any strategic plan put forward that would promote business and bring in the offset in revenue that we're going to need to compensate for our future growth and the continuing ongoing expenses of running a municipality. I know that we don't want to raise taxes. However, as many of you are aware, we had a recent situation where we were faced with an underfunded revenue from the assessment that was applied to properties. And in my case, it was at about 70% of its assessed value previously. That was taken up to 100%. Now that may not be a tax. That is just going from an underfunded situation to a fully funded situation at 100%. But you know what? It felt like a tax. You know why it felt like a tax? Because my taxes I'm going to have to pay $500 more approximately a year than I paid a year ago. So even though it's not a tax, I still have to go into my wallet and pay more money. Now we're talking about cutting departments' expenses so that we can stay within budget. But I don't hear anybody talking about, well, what can we do to improve our community? I did hear Senator Meadows talking about, well, we're doing a number of things to mitigate the order situation. I appreciate the fact that Senator Energy too finally got around to doing it. I wish they had done it 8 years ago. But yes, we do need to pull more of the methane out of here. You know, we got to get rid of that flaring situation. And I'm glad that that's happening. Has it mitigated things? I believe it has. I've noticed a difference where I live. Other people, apparently not, from what I'm hearing tonight. But, you know, I'm just one honest person speaking the truth as I see it. And so, are there other things that can be done? I sure hope so. And I have a feeling that if we put our heads together and decide some ideas, we can make some progress. But the way we're going from what I've seen, we're not going to get there. So I would say, let's take a deep breath, relax a little bit, sit down, come together, and figure out what we can do. I don't want to wind up in a legal situation where we're going to lose our board members, we're going to be financially ruined, you know, if we get in a situation like that. And worse, do you think you're protected from that? No, you're not. If the town loses as an entity, an assessment to be made on all taxpayers here to have to pay up the difference that they're not able to collect from the board members or from the town's treasurer. So we all are stakeholders in this, and we need to consider it that way. You have something at stake. I have something at stake. We all do. And if we're going to act like adults and be respectful to each other and sit down, we can work out some sort of plan together. I'm convinced we can. because I see a bunch of very intelligent, very bright, very creative people here. I've talked to many of you, I know you are. But, you know, we're going to have to kind of take a deep breath and let go and come together. Another thing I'd like to bring up before I get shut down here, I didn't even take over, is I'm really concerned about the enforcement of the codes in this town. Because I really don't see that happening in such a way that it's going to protect the image of this town. One of our biggest interests is the tourism business. And I really don't see an even-handedness in terms of how the properties are being maintained around here. Now, I have nothing against a person being a landlord, or even an absentee landlord, provided that some sort of mechanism is put in place that the properties are maintained and that they are reasonably attractive and they're safe and so on. But I've seen some properties that look like they are suffering from demolition by neglect. And I see a complete lack of enforcement of our town codes as far as that's concerned. I have a neighbor next to me that has an unpermitted structure in his backyard next to the visitors booth where the tourists walk by on the Little Trail. So they stop and they look at the booth and they look at the scary thing and they take off almost running in the other direction. And there's absolutely no excuse for that. That thing's been there for over a year. I've mentioned it, but I'm not going to file an official complaint about it because, you know, I believe that if you have a person who's supposed to do a job, then they should do the job. If a police officer sees a crime being committed, they don't have to go back to the police department and sit down and wait for the phone to ring for somebody to call them a complaint. They see what's wrong, they cite it, they make an arrest, they do whatever they have to do in order to enforce the law. I think we need to put some sort of effort, extra effort, into enforcing our town codes. Now, does that mean we might have to hire an assistant code enforcement officer, perhaps, to make this happen or to facilitate this process? I don't know. I'm not in charge. You are. And I hope that you will consider this as a priority. Because if we have one ugly-looking community and we have a good-looking place here and a run-down-looking place there and a homeless encampment-looking kind of place here, who's going to want to come into Seneca Falls and spend their money? Who's going to want to come here to the kind of the birth of the women's movement, so to speak? But more than that, the birth of free-thinking people who believe in standing up for what's right. It's not just the women's movement. You had people like Frederick Douglass. He was an abolitionist. You had other people who were here at our church down here. It was a church where the first two regiments that went off to fight the Civil War went and were blessed. Trinity Church. Okay? And every veteran, worth his or her salt, who is aware of that, would take pride in knowing that we had that place there, and that's where our people went when they went out to fight for the Union. Now, is that something worth protecting and worth sharing with other communities and tourists? Yes, it is. And finally, you may be aware of the fact that the board, thank God, signed off on the paperwork to have us become a certified local government. Well, you might say, gee, what does that mean? That's a bunch of words. Well, this is what it means. It means that Seneca Falls is now on the map, and we are going to be on the federal registry and the state registry of historical places to visit. All over the country, and even internationally, people are now going to take notice of the fact that Seneca Falls is here, and that because we're here, and because this is where the women's movement was, because this is where the troops went off, you know, we're Blessed Trinity Church, because Frederick Douglass and others were here, Caddy and a bunch of wonderful people were here. They're going to want to come here to see where this took place. We are not going to be visible in a higher plane. But do you want them coming into a community where everybody's yelling at each other, calling each other a bunch of liars and dogs and pigs and other things? No. Do you want them to come to a community that is working together as a team, in harmony, hopefully someday? Yes. Would you like to come into a community that looks like a historic place, that looks inviting? Yes. These are the kinds of things that we need to be paying attention to, in my own opinion. And so, I'll close on just saying, I'm interested in beautifying the community. I'm interested in implementing fiscal conservatism in terms of our planning. When I say fiscal conservatism, I realize I wasn't here at the time, but that sure as heck didn't include a $3.5 to $4 million town hall. When we got to turn around and then bring our tax base up from 70% to 100% just in an instant. So, going forward, I hope that we are more consistent in applying those things and we come up with a plan that we can use to measure our progress. I see no plan in place. I see different boards coming in and going in one direction, and then another board comes in and goes in another direction. I would like for there to be an actual strategic plan that people can follow. Am I saying redo the entire comprehensive plan? Oh, God, no. That would take too long and involves too much. But we can come up with a few identifiable goals, set out a number of objectives, achievable objectives, and then measure our progress towards those. And those should be fiscally conservative objectives that promote business and life and vitality in the community. Thank you.
We did schedule this meeting to last till 8:30, but I think Matt summed up a lot of what we're talking about tonight, why I'm having these forums. If anyone wants to speak anymore, I'll allow them to go to 8:30, but I think we should take Matt's words and really listen to them, go home with them, and start thinking of where we're going to go in the future. Right. So, okay, so people want to say something, continue the meeting. Thank you, man.
Great, thank you. My name is Jeff Berger, member of Seneca Falls. Been in this community since April. I currently live in Holiday Inn, formerly I lived in a hotel, and I'm relocating here from Texas. I came here with the parent company, Waste Connections, with the Waste Merger, and I'm proud to call myself a member of this team. I've been in this industry for 25 years, and this is a strong team. I think we do things right. But I appreciate your words and that sentiment. Anytime, Kyle and I will make ourselves available. If the concerned citizens want to meet at a location you're choosing, start a dialogue. We'll answer your questions. If you don't know the answer, we'll try our hardest to get an answer for you. And in turn, we have an open door policy. We have an open house coming August 21st. But even before that, any group, any citizen group wants to come and talk and ask questions, we have an open door policy. We don't have to agree, and in fact, we probably disagree. But in the theme of what the gentleman so well said, we're available anytime. We'll come to you, and all we'll do is start a dialogue and answer your questions. I thought time was very constructive. Thank you.
My name is Linda Oaks, I'm from Waterloo, and I've been looking at landfill issues for many years. I was on the board of directors of Citizens Environmental Coalition, which is a statewide organization across the state looking at environmental issues that affect the health and safety of communities. And in that work, I realized a lot of factors that affect communities, and there have been studies that prove that living close to landfills can cause many kinds of cancers, bladder cancer, thyroid issues, and diabetes, things like that. Okay, they're not made up. Years ago, I participated with the Department of Health up in Troy when they were doing studies, and the studies were pretty damning about cancer in this area, and they chose not to publish that report. That is
that's what happens across the state. With the big industries, they push their way in, and they try to cover things up or play it down. I was the one who did the air studies in Evans Cometas and Seneca Meadows landfill. I did it one night, I got the canisters from the DEC, and I went around and spent my time checking. And the DEC and other corporations and also the Department of Health have been bought up by large industries, and they are not protecting us. That is a fact. Okay, a lot of money comes from the corporations, and they don't want to lose that money. And Seneca Meadows is a huge business. You have never heard me say close it. I have said we need to be smarter about what we allow in the landfills in our communities. You can do source separation, and we've done general code before. It's not like we have not reached out to the landfill. Over the claim line, we said, why are you picking this spot? We were told it was purely a business decision, and whether you liked it or not, we're putting the claim line there. Now, there's 2,400 other acres in that area, I'm sure, approximately. They could have put it somewhere else, but they chose to put it right across the street from our schools and elderly people, literally across the street from our community. How are those people going to sell their houses when the landfill gets even worse than it is? That's a huge issue for people who put all their money into their home. I built my own home. I have solar panels. I do environmentally friendly things. I have compost for years, and I have never been kicked out of my house and had to evacuate my house because of the smell. Okay? Bob McGill was talking about a project that they did over in Ontario County by John Hicks, who threw a bunch of stuff in some window things because I went up there and saw it. And he did not do the proper procedure to make it work. Home composting is the best. You're never going to get rid of the odors unless you take the organics out of the landfill. That is true. There's no other way to get around it. That is fact when you want to talk facts. Okay? Because those are the things that when the garbage gets swished down, it pushes all the air out, and that's what makes the methane gas. And with all the methane gas coming out, it makes it hard for us to breathe. Methane is a dirty, dirty gas. It's dirtier than climate change gases and things like that. It is a filthy gas. And what's happening with the methane, I don't want to see it flared off either. But I've said for years, and tried to talk to the landfill, we need to do source separation. Not a drop of metal should ever go in that landfill. We need to be smart. Over 20% or over 90% of what goes in there does not have to. That can spring off other jobs. You got the tire shredding plant. You can start doing other things, or pull things out and sell it to businesses. If we quit giving our tax dollars, like the IDA does, to businesses like the landfill who are filthy rich, and start subsidizing other jobs, factory, whatever, that can take those materials and make them into something useful. That is a plan. And you can take, when I moved here in the 70s, Seneca Falls had a shredder and Waterloo had a chipper. And I said, great, why don't you guys get together? And we can have really nice mulch for our yards. And they were so mad at each other, and I had no clue why. And still to this day, there's an issue between these two towns, and I have no clue why. But if we would have cooperated years ago and did slowly ways to live off the landfill money, to cut out, okay? We can start a lot of businesses here that do focus on those, and if they're given a chance and subsidized, then they will be successful. Seneca Meadows doesn't have any interest in that because the money is putting the garbage in the hole. That's where they get it, it's a gold mine. All right? Toxic leachate, another huge issue that is so hot now that it doesn't go to most of the sewer plants because it eats the pipes. Okay? What are we going to do about that in the future? Because now it's being pumped through the landfill and it's toxic, toxic, toxic. What if it gets into our water? I talked to the Chamber of Commerce guy and said, gee, Jeff, what happens if the leachate gets into the water? Even if a rumor starts that there's toxic leachate in the water in our lakes, there goes your whole pine business that took many, many years to build up. There are other things we can do with things, but They're the third largest corporation now, waste corporation. Do you think they really truly want to stop? It's business as usual because it's cheaper that way for them. They don't have to do anything else. Just throw the garbage in the hole. Take as much as you can. And when you put more infrastructure in, you know they're not leaving. Okay? And then we give them money to do this. This makes no sense. Subsidize other businesses so they can come into our community and start businesses that are sustainable. And I've been to everybody in this town. I've been to the Seneca County Board. I've been to the IDA saying we want good, sustainable jobs. We can have that. And we don't have to worry about getting sick or something. These people are saying they're healthy. That's great for now, but a lot of times it takes years for it to build up in your body before it's noticeable or something happens to you. Okay? They can't even tell you the synergistic effect of when everything's put in the landfill, what's going to come out of it. They have no clue because they don't test for that many chemicals. Okay? Huge issues here. And there are scientific reports, I've seen them, I've read them, that prove that landfills are going to leak and that they have toxic stuff coming out of them. And what are we going to do with all this leachate and stuff? The sewer plants can't handle it. I've been out for that for years. They don't test for that chemicals. They did a study over in Seneca Lake, zero wasted, and they took one chemical and they had it tested. And it's in the lake water already. And I can't remember the name of the chemical, but it causes low sperm counts and things like that. These things have been brought up over the years and nobody has listened. And I personally have run around this whole county trying to educate people about backyard composting is so easy. If anybody wants to learn, I would be more than happy to help them. And Trevor, I was talking to her about when you were in high school and you were giving me a hard time because I substitute teach, and you said you're picking on me because my father works at the landfill. And I have never picked on you for that. I picked on you for your behavior in my classroom. That's what I do to everybody. I don't care where you were. I don't pick on what color you are. If you're not behaving in my classroom, I'm going to call you on it. So I was just saying it to my friend here. I haven't seen Trevor in years, so he might still be around. I don't know. But
why don't we leave the personal issues out of this and focus on what's okay? And
what?
Why don't we leave the personal issues out of this and focus on what...
I was just saying because she brought it up.
What's wrong with you?
Okay, anyway. We need to look at what we're doing, and we have not had a plan. I tried to get the comprehensive plan for the county. The county don't have a plan either for environmental. We tried to get it going. I have volunteered countless hours, and the landfill came, and they didn't want to hear the words like sustainability or anything like that in the plan. How do you do an environmental plan without those kinds of words? Okay, and there are communities that have started all kinds of programs, and they are so much further ahead than us. And I said that at the last thing. We have to look at progress. We can't help that we have this pile here now. It's here, okay? But we can slow it down, save landfill space by doing things with other products. Okay, example. Karen makes soap out of hand fat from the scalloped potato and ham dinner we had. Okay? I use it as a teaching tool because it shows something that normally gets thrown into a landfill, you can make something useful out of it. Okay? I've been up in Rochester. They have a place where they work with businesses on how to try to make their businesses less polluting. There's all kinds of stuff going around, but for some reason in this area, nobody seems to have ever been interested in looking into any of this stuff. These are things I've been to. I've traveled all over. I've seen that other communities can have some success. And I'm from New Jersey. Toxic aren't in the East. So, you know, we can do things. And I did have thyroid cancer living in New Jersey at 16 because we had an active hazardous landfill down the road from where I live on Meadow Road. Okay? These corporations, we have tried to work with them. They just bully their way through and do whatever they want, and they really do not care about the community. Or they would have said, well, let's look at the 2,400 acres we have, and let's see where else we can put it, where it won't be right on top of the community. We're concerned about the diesel fumes that are going to be concentrated, and also the particles. All the kids are right in that area. I was the one who got the baseball fields moved from Seneca Meadows. They graciously gave me land for ball fields. I thought the idea of swapping the property with the Little League, and it worked. Okay, if you go past, you'll see all the ball fields are at the high school, where they belong, the children belong, not at an inactive and an active working landfill. Okay, smart planning, and that's what we need to look at in our communities. And we don't need any more landfills coming. I mean, how many mountains are we going to have to take care of? I mean, it's getting ridiculous. My friends don't even want to come and visit because it snows. The last 4 odor complaints I called in, nope, it wasn't anything, I mean, it could have been my wood stove, okay? This is ridiculous. I know the difference between a wood stove smell and the landfill smell, and I get sick every time I smell it. It's not something that we should breathe, and it takes away our right to breathe clean air in our community. That's the bottom line. I don't care how wonderful the company is. I'm not against the workers. I'm just saying they need to change. They can't just look at being a solid waste disposal. They need to look at other options as well if they want to evolve and stay in our community and not make us sick. I could go on with this.
I promise you I won't take it. I just wanted to let everyone know that we also started our waste management advisory committee, which includes both from Seneca Falls as well as an employee of the landfill, so that some of the things we just talked about can be talked about to better our community. So, Carl, can we say who's on our waste management? So, Carl.
No, David Panucci, Carl Elliott, myself and Mary, Barb Reese, and David Clark.
So that's that. We really are trying to come to some type of understanding, working together. I can totally understand your frustration. We get your frustration. We also understand everybody else's frustration. And I agree, we do need to do better for our businesses coming into this town. When I started, I said economic development is huge, and I think we can solve a lot of problems by working together. And that, I think, said beautifully, which is much more eloquent than I did, is that we really need to kind of come together and find middle ground. And it sounds like you have some great ideas that hopefully, we can listen to. And the Seneca Meadows 10 years ago is not the same Seneca Meadows now. So hopefully, maybe we can work together. I think we just need to try to stay positive in this situation and work together for Seneca Falls. It's a beautiful town. We really need to start.
Why I moved up here was a beautiful town.
Exactly, and I think we can keep it beautiful if we all work together. And that's trying to push the negativeness away and really look at the positive for everyone.
Okay, the negative, I'm getting tired of hearing that.
And I don't mean something.
No, everybody says it's so negative, but if you don't bring up the problem, it will never get solved. So sometimes you have to, but anytime I have brought something up, I have always had some kind of solution or ideas, but nobody's ever wanted to listen to them.
I think we all need to start listening to
Yes, definitely.
I think we all need to start listening to everyone. But yeah.
At the last forum, I mentioned that we were going to open our committee meetings to the public. We've had a couple of kinks and set them up. I think they're pretty much set up now and everything. It will be on the website. All of our committee meetings will be open to the public. So look on that website. Make sure you call the board office on the day of the committee meeting, or sometimes committee meetings are canceled. And that will all be on the website, but it should be up in a few days or so, all our committee meetings.
I'm Dennis Gale. This is my hometown, and I was going to steal a line from Monty Python and say it's something completely different, but Matt has brought up something, so is Mary, and I got brought in on development. We have something coming up here in a couple of weeks where we should bring the community together, should build the economic development of the town, because it's going to bring people from outside the area in, and it's the Seneca Falls Canal Fest. is starting July 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'm asking for everybody's support to come down, bring the family down. We want to show off the canal front. We want to show off the community center. We're going to have amusement rides. We're going to have, we're going to have a duck race. We're going to have the aquacade parade, watercraft parade. We're going to have fireworks on Saturday night at 10 p.m. We're filling both sides of the canal. It's going to go from the community center all the way down to Boga Street Bridge. And both sides will be occupied by different music for the kids, adults alike. So that would bring people together at least for 3 days and come down there and enjoy it. We have to build this up. It's going to stimulate the businesses for downtown. It's also going to bring everybody together and hopefully show some of the voters that this canal harbor that we created is someplace to come. A lot of people are not aware that there's 33 places down there with electrical hookups, free hookups. We also have amenities down there for shower and laundry where they can bring the boats down. That will stimulate some business downtown because if they die, you're going to have to go out downtown to eat. So I just need your support. Spread it around. We have a Facebook page out there. I've been working with the Seneca Falls Business Association on this. The social media is blowing up. I know that we're a little bit out of the demographic of the millennials, but we had over 12,000 hits on this thing. So Facebook is working, Twitter is working, but I need people like you to get your kids to come out. Spread the word that we're going to have this fantastic celebration on the 8th, 9th, and 10th. We're including, it's all inclusive. The community band is going to start on Friday night, and then we're going to go ahead and have live music all 3 days, and then, well, the bandstand's done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're utilizing the bandstand there at the People's Park, which is fantastic. And then from there, we're bringing in, Seneca Falls PD has been very, very helpful helping us out. Mr. Jim Smina, with his organization here, the Community Center, is helping us out. It's even in a booklet that Greg showed at the beginning. So we're getting a lot of support from the town, which is not the papers. And the board itself is trying to help and trying to stimulate it, but we need to do a better job locally. We want all the locals to come to this event, which is hard to do sometimes, but it's an open invitation.
People can pick up flyers to spread if they're going around.
I'll have flyers. Anybody that's interested or tell me that you need flyers, I'll make sure you get them. I'll make sure you get them for your business windows. I'll make sure that you get them for handing out. They're also downloadable off the website, off the Facebook page. But yeah, come up to me at the meeting. I'll set you up. Really appreciate it.
He's anorexic.
I just wanted to touch base on what Dennis is talking about. I also wanted to thank Greg for highlighting the effort our staff puts in for that help keep people busy throughout the summer. And I say people, it's not just about kids. And I also wanted Greg to mention being positive, the things we do, some of the things that we bring to living in Seneca Falls. The month of July, Dennis spoke of the Canal Fest. There's a great organization putting it together, led by some people from the Seneca Falls Business Association. We've been meeting since January to put this together. There's a duck race. You can see the advertised out there. You buy a duck, a rubber duck, they're going to drop it at the bridge out here by the community center. The first one on the Boga Street Bridge wins is going to be 12 prizes. The SLPA is using it as a fundraiser. What they want to do with that is they're going to buy a downtown speaker system, PA system. So when there's events downtown, people have access to it. But what would that be for? Well, let me give you some highlights of what's going on just in July. 8th, 9th, and 10th, Canal Fest. As Dennis said, up and down the canal. There's a Civil War academy included in there. The state is setting a tugboat for tours, the Imo Island. There's all kinds of things going on. Also,
July 12th, cycling year, 600 bike wagons, bike cyclists coming through from Pittsburgh, they stop in Seneca Falls overnight. They'll be located up at the school camping. We have a reception for them in the People's Park. What do those folks do? They bring money. Where do they go? Parkers, Dumpin' Deli, pizza. Okay, they spend their money here. Okay, ice cream, pretzel places. Okay, they'll spend the night, they'll leave the 13th. July 18th is a Monday. The Solar's Life Committee is bringing over 225 Model T cars. They'll be parked downtown. All on Fall Street on the north side, and all over down the lower Fall Street. They'll be here all morning. What do those folks do? They eat lunch, they take off. Okay? July 24th, the Classic Car Show. Dave Vallejo's heavily involved in that. How many cars has she made so far? How many in the past? 300 cars, classic cars, parked downtown. Again, bringing people downtown. You have people here in this town, not just employees. I get paid to do that, but I enjoy doing that. But you have people who are working hard, residents here, business owners, who are trying to bring more things downtown. More opportunities for local folks, more opportunities for business. We want to talk about positive. Okay, that's positive. That's a reason to live in Seneca Falls. Okay? I just got word today from the chamber. There's a possibility that the New York City Town Board is going to offer 4 different sites in the fall, October. They're going to call it Locktoberfest. Seneca Falls is up to maybe one of those places where we would have another canal-based activity on a weekend in the fall. What a great time in the fall, just before the weather flies, okay? Why here? It's because of what we have to offer, okay? Very excited about that, and you should be too. Spread the word, like Ben said. Talk to your kids, talk to your friends, your family. Tell them to come see what Seneca Falls has to offer downtown. And we're speaking to what Matt said earlier. We need to make it look nice. My staff does a great job with all the parks and all that kind of stuff. We also need help from homeowners. Clean up the place, make it look great. Okay? The more people that make this place looks great, the more will come, maybe some will stay. I just wanted to talk about positive, and I thought that was a really good message right started tonight with. Talk about the positive, good things going on here. Because all of us, employees, residents, everybody here, the negative does wear. We're trying to make sure that there's good things happening in this town. Thank you.
Unless anyone has anything else to say.
I want to speak to the board first. My name is James Mitchell, 1691 236 Waterloo, New York. We've been talking about a lot of things tonight here, but we haven't been talking about our children and our future. We're being poisoned every day. Every day you walk out and down the stinks. And what's in the air we don't even know because it's never been advertised or told. I wrote a couple of notes down here. And I didn't have a prepared speech. As far as I'm concerned, send Seneca Falls and to dump back the canyon and give them all the stinking garbage. And we'll take our land back and our future. I had another, it's been stinking for years, and we've been breathing this foul stuff for years. I complained about it 6 years ago. At the town board meeting, it's on record down here, I talked to the health department, they said they couldn't do nothing about it. And I feel sorry for our children, and nobody's talked nothing about that. Our children, our grandchildren, and the babies are coming, and nobody's talked nothing about it. I got my head, I'm concerned about Seneca Lake, Sugar Lake, and all the lakes, and our polluted water that we're getting. And I hope that you take that into consideration, and when you vote, you got a very important thing to do with that. I put my trust in you people, and do what's right for our children in the community. And it's not more trash and not more dump. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Anyone else?
Oh, great. One last comment. We were talking about diversion programs. Some of us recently went to Cornell University and met with others, and there are successful diversion programs, landfill diversion programs, where they have recycling, where they have composting. We actually saw the compost fields. I have since gone to some and seen some. They don't stink because they're properly managed. So it is possible to have that type of function and to run it successfully. Some communities are doing it with great degrees of success. I have heard numbers as high as 75%, as low as 58% of those that were successful. Others that were unsuccessful. I don't know what their percentages were, but they're not around anymore, so I guess it wasn't so high. Anyway, it is something that can be done. There is hope. We can work together. We have assets available to us now. We need to realize that they are assets and employ them accordingly. And look for solutions so that we can move forward to a cleaner, more vibrant, hopefully more profitable future. But there's hope. Thank you.
Thank you again, Matt. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight, speaking what was in their heads and hearts, and the board has taken heed. Our next board meeting will be July 5th. I might switch up the public comment section a bit. I will get to the newspapers before that. If I do, I have to talk to my board members about it to see if they agree first. July 5th, generally a date with a lot of people out of town. I think it would be a good night for us to make sure we conduct the business that we need to conduct as a board also. So we will allow some public comment, but it probably won't be extensive on July 5th. So with that, I want to thank everyone for coming. I think there was a real good discussion tonight. And keep on sending the letters to us and reports and ideas, and we'll keep listening. And we know we have to make a decision. And we'll keep on talking. Thank you all. Thank you.